including at times President Trump himself, who tweeted back in 2013, quote, "Weiner is gone, Spitzer is gone. Next will be lightweight AG Eric Schneiderman. Is he a crook? Wait and see. Worse than Spitzer or Weiner." That was March of 2013. But now, apparently what goes around comes around. 4 women have spoken out saying, yes, he did it to me too. In this bombshell report, the New Yorker writes about one accuser saying, quote, "It's torturous for me to do this." As she puts it, but what do you do if your abuser is the top law enforcement official in the state, which on many occasions he was happy to remind these women of? Hours after the New Yorker was published, Eric Schneiderman had already resigned. Here to react, Kimberly Guilfoyle, co-host of The Five and former attorney and prosecutor. Kimberly, good to see you. This is quite a story, you know, and I mean, obviously it's a New York-based story, but this is a person who went after President Trump, went after Chris Christie, and, you know, champion of women. These stories are unbelievable.
It certainly has national implications. And like you said, working as a former prosecutor in the area of domestic violence and sexual assault, women and children that have been physically and sexually abused, these are some of the most difficult cases to bring forward. And working with them in terms of trying to get them to come forward to tell their story when they've been abused by someone, especially someone, like you said, top law enforcement person, someone that used threats and intimidation to keep the women silent. You saw 4 brave women came forward as it relates to the New Yorker piece. And as some of the executives and producers here at Fox News know, I've been working on an investigation into this case as well. I've been working with one of the victims of Eric Schneiderman and her horrific ordeal that she endured at his hands. She, too, was also very afraid to come forward and to tell her story, which is unbelievably harrowing and compelling. And she is not one of the 4 that are mentioned in this New Yorker piece.
Wow. I mean, so we already know there's more.
That's correct. There's more to come.
And were you speaking with her before this story? I mean, this story came out last night, so you've been talking with her for a while?
Yes.
And she's terrified to come forward?
For the past couple of months. But she has now, you know, really made the decision to be able to come forward. She's afraid, you know, she's a single, you know, mom like myself, and it's very difficult when you think about that type of thing and you think about going up against someone very powerful, but you see these 4 brave women were able to do it. And I think, you know, it's so compelling, and it really gives strength to others that have suffered at the hands of, you know, physical abuse.
This case, you know, I mean, you know, you look at some of these cases are all across the spectrum in terms of what people are accused of. This is beating. I mean, he was, according to these women's reports, hitting them so hard in the head, by the eyes, that they had to go to physicians. She was bleeding in her ear. She couldn't hear for weeks.
Yeah, one of the women detailed that she was hit and struck so hard in the side of the head and the ear that she had the ringing in the ear, that she had blood in her ear. She saw, in particular, that woman saw Dr. Gwen Corvin, who is an ENT, who examined her. So there's medical records. There are medical records as well in the case that I have been investigating and working with the victim. So something very
What's going to happen here legally? What's he up against?
Over a long period of time. He's looking at, you know, potential misdemeanor or felony charges depending on the nature of the abuse and the number of women coming forward. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has opened a case. Long Island has also opened an investigation to see the nature of the abuse and what kind of charges could be filed. It's very serious. It's criminal conduct, certainly assaultive conduct, a battery over a repeated period of time. He used the phrase role playing.
Right.
It is not role playing when you physically beat and abuse a woman.
That's what I was just going to say. One quote from the New Yorker piece by Ronan Farrow. He says, these women, one after another, were adamant. This is not 50 Shades of Grey.
Correct.
This was not an area of gray at all in their minds. This was assault over and over again.
Yes, it was dark. Stunning. It was ominous. It was something threatening and name-calling, abusive. It's very difficult when you even think about it and you hear some of these details and the details that I have heard.
Terrible.
And people will have no misconception that this wasn't consensual and that this was criminal in conduct.
Well, Kimberly, thank you. And we look forward to hearing more about your investigation as you move forward. Thanks so much. Good to have you here tonight.
Thank you for having me, Martha.